talk about it for weeks. But
Yeah.
the next two, so Lauren Burns, Daniel Trent,
Yeah.
probably two our Olympic medalists, obviously, but two that are a little bit outside the norms of what we see in the everyday athlete. So Lauren Burns goes on to be a doctor. Daniel Trenton goes on to be a lawyer. These
Yeah.
guys show that they can reach the top level in their sport and then in life as well. So what did you know rub shoulders with both of them for a very long time? What set these guys apart from the others?
Lauren would do anything that she needed to do to get to that next level. So, for example, if we were training at a certain area, she would be there. What are you guys doing? What the back kick are you doing? I remember her riding a bike from Eltham to train in a garage in Camberfield and for 2 days just to be able to train in that environment. So she was the type of person who'd go, you know what do I need to do? Study, or I need to study this, or I need to do that, or I need to do this and do that. And I tell you what, I take my hat off to her. The time I realised she was going to be Olympic champion was 1996 Asian Championships. She lost the selection event to Carmella. At the Asian Championships for 5-day competition, Lauren would be sitting literally like that in the stadium, and I'll never forget, she'd be like this and crying. She'd be crying that she wasn't competing. I kept looking up, whether I was competing or from the athletes area, looking at her for 4 days straight. She'd sit there crying. I thought, she's gonna be Olympic champion, and from that day I'll never forget. I thought to myself that is a person with passion, and that and then
just determined.
What are we doing? Determined. What do I need to do? Yep, I need to. Where are you guys training? Melbourne Uni. Yeah, in the squash courts. Yep. Get on a bike. Get on a tram. Get on this. Get on that. You know, this is a young girl who comes from, I wouldn't say, from a family that can provide her anything, but she was like, no, I don't want all that. That makes me soft. I know what these guys are going through. I know what the environment I need to be in. I need to put myself in the environment of a fighter's environment. Bang. 96 came around. We became a VIS sport. Once we became a VIS sport, we had a lot of service providers. She begged, borrowed, and stole information from all of them, from the sports scientists to the well-being to the mental health. She was just a sponge. And now with all that, one step ahead. We were like, no, man, there's no blood, there's no 10K run before this. I'm not doing this. You look at the generation that went, yep, I'm going to follow what you guys say. At 50, they walk like Adonises. You look at my generation, go, mate, I'm not doing this. What do you mean plank? I'm not doing a plank. 3 new hips. So, Lauren was a person that did what she needed to do. She educated herself. Once we became VIS athletes, they gave us an opportunity to go, you know what, after sport you need to. And she actually, I started with naturopathy for 2 years and thought, no, this is not me. Sorry, I couldn't sit still and that. And Lauren just continued with all that. And now she's a doctor. She's providing a service for the national team now. I take my hat off to her.
Good on her. And so our in your opinion, and we'll talk about this guy who was obviously my coach for a long period of time and probably took me to the next level in Taekwondo. So I'm very, very grateful, and was a big part of my life too. So Daniel, again, special kind of a guy. Managed to reach the top level in his sport, but also in life, and he became a lawyer. He's a proud dad now, so I speak to him quite often, and we message each other, and it sounds like he's having a ball. So, is he, in your opinion, our best ever male athlete? And is there anyone that got close?
Yeah, he's our best ever. He's our best ever. And don't forget, this is when we're in Asia, not Oceania.
No, yeah.
He was our best ever. He would beat the Koreans. He'd play with Pascal, the French. He was our best ever. He was probably always not mentally, scientifically 3 or 4 steps ahead of everyone. Whether that was his upbringing, where he came, he's a Brooksy Crescent. Anyone knows Brooksy Crescent in Carlton, knows the neighbourhood. Like I said, every time I go and pick him up, I'd never stop the car. If I stopped the car, that was it. I got jumped.
He would take me to have lunch at Rathdown Street.
Oh, yeah, Rathdown, yeah.
It's a different neighbourhood. What was the Italian restaurant called? La Paquetta.
La Paquetta's, yeah.
Street, yeah. There was shootings going on and everything. Here we are.
Yeah, all the Carlton boys, all the Carlton crew. So he grew up with the Carlton crew, the Brooksy crew and stuff like that. But he was always studying. When he moved out, he was moving in with John and Bertie and all that kind of stuff. He was always, this is when the computers came out, and he was always on the computer. He was always the next step ahead. We call him Professor Tanaka. His mind was going 100 miles an hour. He was scientifically so. He'd ask you questions like, "Oh, I'm going to throw it back." He'd say, "But which Spaniard would throw it, and why the angle and this, and tell me the theory and tell me the science." And I'm like, "Mate, just throw the back kick." And he was at that level. And even when
he was like that, and from my experience as well, and this is a person that gave away a lot of height as well. See, he had some monsters in the heavyweight division, but he was so nimble and light on his feet. No one had footwork like Daniel Trent. People knew his footwork. Like when I fought at the World Uni Games, I was moving around, and obviously I copied Daniel. So I had people saying to me, Korean guys, who you train with? I train with Daniel. I can tell. Your footwork same.
I don't know.
For real? So these guys knew that this is Daniel Trent's footwork. So
I don't know if you know.
Well known and respected, you're doing something right.
Yeah, I don't know if you know the story how Daniel became a heavyweight. Do you know that story? Daniel was a welterweight.
You tell me. Yeah, he was a welterweight.
He was a welterweight in '94 when Jinte came in. So we had a whole bunch of welterweights, Birdie and a few others, and can't come to my mind at the moment. But Daniel was a welter. Warren, and there was no heavyweights in Australia. There was no heavyweights on that program, and so Daniel, you're heavy. He's like, what do you mean I'm heavy? You eat, you become heavy like this. So Daniel was handballed into the heavyweight division. So he then had to become a heavyweight. And guess which heavyweight he was using as to study back then, mid-90s, pro boxer, Mike Tyson. Same stature, same everything. So he was watching Tyson, the way he worked, the way he TikTok in, the way he used his feet to get in, and all that kind of stuff. Then Daniel being Daniel, he'd go to the World Championships and all that kind of stuff. The earlier days, and he'd warm up in the warm-up area. I'll never forget, we're in Egypt, '97. And that's another one where I realised he was going to become an Olympic champion, was in Egypt. When out in the balcony, I'm cutting weight, and he's telling me how he was going to win an Olympic medal. And I'm like, mate, you've planned this all out. He goes, yeah, I'm an Olympic medalist. You're looking at him. Shake my hand. You're looking at Olympic medalist.
Well,
he put the flag up.
He had that confidence about him.
Yeah. So he was a welterweight that was pushed into the heavyweight because there was no one in the program as a heavyweight. So he then adjusts. Hence his fluidity, his footwork, his management, his ring management, his distance work and stuff like that. He just imitated Tyson. He just put the legs to it. You know what I mean? So that's how he became heavyweight. He didn't show it, but he was very clever. And then
we know that. We know that because we were so close to him. But I agree. He didn't he didn't show it, and he was never arrogant about his smarts, but he was always arrogant about the end goal and where he was going, and he got there.
Yeah,
he got there.
Yeah, so, there were times at the whole HPC Centre where people like Lauren would put up the national flag, and we'd be stretching after training, and she'd practice her walkout. And she'd set up the chairs, and that was, the podium. She'd stand up the podium and salute and sing the national. And we'd go, Lauren, what are you doing? And we'd be throwing pads at her, and what are you doing? She goes, well, I'm visualising. And Daniel was the same too. That's you need to visualize not only how you win, but also how you receive the medal. And Daniel was the same too. He just tell you, mate, this is how I'm beating France. This is how I'm doing. And in the warm-up area, especially in Egypt, he'd be jumping around, and all the heavyweights, like, I remember the German walking up to him and giving him a hug like, you poor little kid. And he actually beat Germany. And that's when, like I said, 96, 97, everything started to pace together and stuff like that. After 2000, what was working back then, plus the younger guys looking up, what was working. Okay, this worked, this didn't work. Okay, we'll provide that. Daniel went to 2004. He then became the Olympic coach. He asked me to become in the program. People think, well, you guys are friends, for jobs for mates. Like I said to Warren the other day, that we had that many punch-ons, and if he's listening now, he'll agree. In the office, in decisions, it became a fisticuff. And even recently, where we get together to go to the weights and do gym and hit some pads, he'd be like, "No, Mayweather. The Mayweather style is better than the Pacquiao." And it's on. And Warren's trying to break us up, so we kept he came from a generation where we kept each other honest. And if someone walked past something or someone or a situation that wasn't the world level as what we thought, you got pulled up. There was times where he'd say, "I'm not sparring you, Nick. I'm fighting in the heavyweight division in 3 weeks. You're a flyweight. I need to adjust." I was offended, mate. I'm a mate. You sparred together, but he was setting himself up. He's
look, as a coach, he was like that too. It's he wouldn't accept the hate.